B&B spoilers. Electra receives shocking texts. Who is sending them? The bold and the beautiful spoilers reveal that a week ago, Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada, was hit and killed by a car. Deputy Chief Baker, Dan Martin, made a huge point of reassuring everyone that this time Luna is definitely dead, even though no one has actually seen the body that matters. Now, a new mystery has begun dealing with Luna. What is going on? The driver has not been identified. The driver of the car has not been identified, even though there have been some ideas swirling around. Electra Forrester received a message on November 24th stating, "I am the one who ran over Luna." However, the person didn't identify themselves. It could be a few people that Electra is acquainted with, but who? Remy Price, Christian Weissman, is desperate to make things right with Electra after the deep-fake scandal that he pulled on her twice. Remy could have been on his way to meet with Deke Sharp, Harrison Cohn, who was already on scene. Could Remy be the one who Luna ran out in front of while fleeing from the cops? Could Miss Dillon be the culprit? Spoilers seem to be pointing at Hayes Finnegan's Brian David Garlick, summer art teacher. Of course fans remember Luna torturing her and locking her in a storage room while she argued with Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McInnes Wood. Shot Sheila Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown, shot Liam Spencer, Scott Clifton, and then got shot herself. Dillon will be back on screen this week and wants to make a confession. It might be ironic and frankly questionable that Dillon would be driving on that road that night. However, Dillon might have wanted a bit of revenge after everything Luna had done. Could Dillon have gone there to help with the search and hit Luna? Electra Forrester's strange text message. Dillon will be at Forrester Creations to visit with Electra, and apparently to accept a new job. With her back in the picture, one has to wonder if she might be behind the message, "We squashed Luna." This could be a red herring, but it seems to be that Dillon is a very good candidate for the killer. Since nothing has been released about the person who hit Luna, could it have been a hit-and-run accident? Will fans ever truly know who the person was that ran into Luna that faithful night and updates? As she was running from the police once again? Is this the beginning of a Who Killed Luna mystery instead? Los Angeles glittered beneath the soft haze of a coastal sunset, but inside Forrester Creations, the atmosphere held tension thick enough to slice. Electra Forrester sat alone in Hope's former office, stacks of design sketches scattered across the mahogany desk. The upcoming preview show could make or break her position at Forrester, and she knew eyes were watching, waiting for her to fail. Electra wasn't one to crumble under pressure. She was a fighter, a survivor, someone who clawed her way into the fashion world instead of being handed a throne. But even someone as sharp as she was couldn't shake the unsettled feeling brewing inside her. She stared at her phone where hours ago the first strange message had appeared. Unknown number. You don't deserve the Forrester name. At first, she ignored it. Los Angeles was full of trolls, gossip junkies, and people desperate for attention. But within minutes, another message followed. You took what wasn't yours. Payback is coming. Electra's stomach tightened. She wasn't easily rattled. She had dealt with jealous rivals before, but something about those messages felt personal. Too personal. Now, as she tried to focus on her work, her phone buzzed again. She picked it up, exhaling sharply. Tick, tock. Time's running out. Her pulse accelerated. Goosebumps prickled her arms. This wasn't a random message. This was a threat. The secrets she wished she could bury. Electra locked her phone screen, but her thoughts spiraled. She had secrets many in Los Angeles didn't know yet. Her complicated childhood, her strained relationship with Poppy, her connection to Luna, and worst of all, the whispered rumor no one could prove, that she wasn't just a distant relative, but that she might be hiding her true parentage, possibly connected to someone powerful, maybe even someone already inside Forrester Creations. Only a few people knew fragments of that truth, and the one person who knew the entire story, gone, or so she thought. Katie Walton interrupts. A soft knock snapped Electra back into the room. The door cracked open, and Katie Walton stepped inside, poised, calm, and cautious. "Electra, you okay?" Katie asked, her tone layered with concern. Electra forced a smile. "Long day. Lots of pressure. You know how it is." Katie nodded knowingly. Pressure comes with being a forester. And whether you think you've earned it or not, you belong here. The words were unexpectedly grounding, maybe even comforting, but Electra didn't let her guard down. Katie narrowed her eyes slightly. "You sure nothing's wrong?" Electra hesitated, thumb tapping her phone. She considered telling her, but trust wasn't something she gave easily. Instead, she closed her sketchbook and rose. "I'm fine," she lied. Katie didn't believe her, but she stepped back anyway. "Just remember," she said quietly, "LA may be big, but secrets don't stay hidden here." The texts escalate. Later that night, Electra sat inside her sleek Brentwood apartment, dim lighting casting long shadows across the minimalist decor. The city lights shimmered beneath the balcony glass railing. She poured herself a glass of wine and tried to unwind when again her phone buzzed. She tensed. Another message. "You think your lies can protect you? They won't." Electra's heart hammered. She typed back, "Electra, who is this?" A reply came instantly. "Someone who knows what you did." Electra's throat tightened. "What I did," she whispered aloud. She started typing again, fast, angry. "Electra, if you want something, say it." A pause. Then, "Confession first, or your life burns with everything you've built." Electra stood abruptly, wine spilling over the lip of the glass and onto the table. This wasn't harassment. This was blackmail. Sheila hears a rumor. Meanwhile, across town, Deacon Sharp sat at Il Giardino reviewing menus when Sheila Carter, his unpredictable wife, slid into the seat across from him. She didn't smile. She didn't speak. She just stared. Deacon looked up. "Okay, that face means something's wrong." Sheila leaned forward. "Rumor mill says Electra's been acting strange, and someone's targeting her." Deacon frowned. "Where did you hear that?" She shrugged casually, though her eyes gleamed with curiosity. "Oh, LA whispers." Deacon sighed. "We stay out of Forrester drama." Sheila tilted her head. "But what if that drama is connected to what happened with Luna?" she asked softly, voice dropping. "And the truth about Remy?" Deacon stiffened. "You think Electra knows more than she said?" Sheila smiled. "I think Electra knows everything." The mystery deepens. The following morning, Electra arrived at Forrester Creations, exhausted and jittery. She hadn't slept. Every time she closed her eyes, the messages replayed like a threat carved into her mind. As she approached her office, she froze. A single white envelope sat on her desk. The sirens had long gone silent by the time the fog settled back around the outskirts of Harper Ridge. A cool November wind carried the smell of burnt rubber and gasoline across the deserted road, whipping fallen leaves over scattered glass and twisted metal. The guardrail along Route 19 was torn open, ripped as though some unseen force had driven straight through it. Only one car had been found. A black SUV, flipped on its side, engine cold, windshield spider-cracked and smeared with dried blood. No license plate, no registration, no identifiable fingerprints, and worst of all, no driver. Just a single line repeated by reporters and baffled police. The driver has not been identified. 3 days earlier, Harper Ridge was its usual sleepy self, a town where the biggest headlines came from bake sales and county fairs, where everyone knew everyone, or at least thought they did. Detective Rowan Hale was halfway through a bland black coffee at the Rusted Spoon when the scanner on his hip went off. 10 to 50 vehicle crash. Route 19 northbound. Possible fatality. Respond immediately. Route 19. A stretch of road Rowan hated. Remote, poorly lit, and winding through miles of forest. Too many accidents. Too many stories. He closed his notebook, nodded to the waitress, and headed out. When he arrived at the scene, paramedics had already taken one victim away, a young woman who, impossibly, had survived being ejected from the demolished SUV. Bruised, barely breathing, unconscious, no identification. Sheriff Marlene Briggs approached him as he ducked under police tape. "You're going to want to see this," she muttered. Rowan examined the crashed vehicle. It was clean, too clean. No fingerprints, no personal belongings, no wallet, not even a stray receipt. "You think it was wiped intentionally?" Rowan asked. Briggs nodded. "Almost certainly." Rowan crouched beside the broken glass, studying faint skid marks. "These tracks didn't come from the SUV," he said, frowning. "Something was chasing it." Briggs stiffened. "We've already checked the area. No second vehicle." Rowan looked at her. There was one, or something like one. The survivor was taken to Harper Ridge Memorial Hospital, where she remained in a coma. The doctors estimated she was in her early 20s. No scars, no distinguishing marks, no tattoos, fingerprint database, nothing. Facial recognition, no match. No one in Harper Ridge recognized her. Another line added to the news ticker. The passenger remains unidentified. The driver has not been identified. 2 nights later, Rowan stood at the accident site again. It wasn't police instinct that brought him. It was the nagging feeling that something was off. Something he had missed. The moon hung low, lighting the trees with pale silver streaks. The forest felt unnervingly quiet, too still for wildlife. Rowan's flashlight swept the road, then stopped. Tire tracks, fresh ones, leading off into the woods. His heart thudded. Someone or something had come back. He drew his gun, followed the tracks, and found a shredded scrap of black fabric snagged on a branch. Not weathered, not old, recent. His phone vibrated in his pocket. A message from the sheriff. Security feed from the hospital, just flagged movement. "She's awake, and she's asking for you." Rowan froze. He hadn't given the hospital his number, and no one, especially not the survivor, should have known it. The hospital hallway smelled of disinfectant and nerves. A trembling nurse led Rowan to room 214. "She woke up about 20 minutes ago," the nurse whispered. "She's disoriented." Rowan stepped inside. The woman stared out the window, her pale face illuminated by the dim light. Her dark hair hung tangled against the white sheets. Her eyes, sharp, terrified, snapped toward him. "Detective Hale." Rowan hesitated. "You know who I am?" She swallowed. "There isn't much time." "Start with your name," he said gently. She closed her eyes. "I don't know it." Rowan braced himself. "Do you remember anything about the crash?" She nodded slowly. "We weren't alone." Rowan leaned in. "Who was the driver?" Her lips trembled. "He doesn't have a face." Rowan blinked. "What do you mean?" Her scream cut him off. A nurse rushed in. Machines shrieked as her pulse skyrocketed. "She needs sedation." Rowan stepped back as medical staff surrounded her. But just before her eyes rolled shut, she whispered, "If he finds me, don't let him take me back." By the next morning, Rowan had run every database, every missing persons report, every private list he could access. Still nothing. No identity. No past. No explanation. And yet, she knew him. How? He was packing up paperwork in his office when Sheriff Briggs knocked. "You need to see this." She placed a tablet on his desk and hit play. Hospital security footage. Timestamp 2:07 a.m. A tall figure stood just beyond the sliding glass doors of the emergency room, motionless, facing the building. No face, no distinct features, just a blurred silhouette wearing a dark coat. Seconds later, the camera glitched, static erupting across the screen, then went black for nearly 15 seconds. When the picture returned, the figure was gone. Briggs crossed her arms. "It gets worse. We checked the grounds. His footprints just stop. Mid-step, Rowan felt a cold shiver travel down his spine. What did the girl say? About him? Rowan exhaled. She said, he doesn't have a face. That night, Rowan returned to the survivor's room. She wasn't asleep, just staring at the ceiling as if afraid to blink. What's happening to you? Rowan asked. She turned her head slowly. It isn't just happening to me. Rowan, Saturday, tell me. She shook her head. You won't believe me. I've seen the footage, he said softly. Try me. She inhaled sharply. We were running from him, the driver and I. Who is he? Rowan pressed. She looked at him with hollow fear. He follows people who disappear. Rowan frowned. Disappear how? People who run from their names, from their memories, from their lives. Rowan blinked. You think you were one of them? She nodded weakly. And the driver? Her voice cracked. He was one too, but he remembered something he shouldn't have. Once you remember, he comes for you. Rowan leaned forward. What did the driver remember? She stared at him with a chilling stillness. He remembered me. Before Rowan could respond, the hospital lights flickered, then went out. A distant alarm began echoing down the hallway. Rowan pulled his flashlight and his gun. Stay behind me. But she grabbed his wrist. No, he doesn't come through doors or halls. Her gaze locked on the dark window. She whispered, he comes through shadows. Rowan turned just as the corner of the room darkened, shadows thickening, pooling, gathering like liquid night. A figure stepped forward, not walking, just appearing, piece by piece, into the dim light. Tall, human-shaped, but featureless, a smooth, blank surface where a face should be. Rowan fired. The bullets passed through it, absorbed into the darkness like droplets in water. The woman screamed and stumbled backward. The figure reached toward her. Rowan grabbed her hand and bolted for the door. The shadow didn't chase. It simply reappeared, blocking their escape. Closer. Too close. Rowan shoved a metal tray stand into its path. The stand dissolved, metal turning into rusted powder before hitting the floor. The figure extended its arm, not touching, just reaching, like possession instead of force. The woman gasped, body going limp, as if her memories were being stripped in without warning. Thunder cracking across the Los Angeles sky like an omen. Inside Forrester Creations, the lights flickered as security alarms wailed through the sleek halls. The building was supposed to be empty after hours, yet someone was inside. When Rich Forrester arrived at 11:37 p.m., summoned by an urgent call from the security firm, he was greeted by flashing red lights and 2 officers pacing the lobby. His stomach tightened. Who triggered the alarm? Ridge demanded. The younger officer answered, eyes glued to his notes. We found a laptop, paper files, and several sketches scattered across the design studio floor. Someone forced access to the executive wing. Ridge's heart dropped. Was anything stolen? We're still checking, the officer replied. But we do have one major concern. Someone wiped confidential drive contents intentionally. Ridge ran a hand through his hair. Not burglary. Sabotage. The next morning, chaos. By 9 a.m., the building buzzed like a hornet's nest. Steffi stormed down the hallway as Hope raced behind her, both firing accusations and demands. Meanwhile, Carter tried to calm everyone with little success. The only person who wasn't panicking was Miss Dillon. She sat at her desk near the large window overlooking Beverly Hills, typing calmly, her long dark hair falling over her shoulder, expression unreadable. Steffi glared at her. Dillon, you're awfully calm for someone who works 10 feet from the break-in. Dillon slowly lifted her gaze, cool, controlled. With respect, Steffi, panic doesn't help restore files or find suspects. The words were polite, yet icy. Hope crossed her arms. What were you doing last night after hours? Working, Dylan replied. Like I do most nights. Unlike some people, I don't clock out the second the sun goes down. Hope stiffened at the jab. But before either woman could respond, Security Chief Marcus entered with a stack of printed reports. We've reviewed door logs, he announced. Someone accessed the server room at 10:52 p.m. using an employee keycard. Everyone leaned forward. Marcus continued. The card belonged to Miss Dylan Rivers. Silence hit the room like glass shattering. Shock. Accusations. Denial. Dylan blinked once, slowly. That's impossible, she said evenly. My keycard is always in my desk drawer. I never accessed the server room. You did, Steffi snapped. Your card doesn't lie. Ridge shook his head, pacing. Dylan, we trusted you with prototypes, confidential designs, everything. Why touch the server room? I didn't, Dylan insisted, voice firm. Hope raised an eyebrow. You've been struggling lately, haven't you? Behind on workload. Tense. Defensive. A muscle twitched in Dylan's jaw. Are you implying I sabotaged this company because my workload is heavy? I'm saying it's motive, Hope fired back. But Carter stepped forward. Everyone breathed. We don't have proof she did anything. Just that her keycard was used. And that, Steffi growled, is enough to make her suspect number one. A secret past emerges. Rumors spread within hours. She worked cybersecurity before fashion. She never talks about her life. Maybe she was planted by a competitor. By afternoon, gossip tangled through every hallway. Even the models whispered. Dylan remained silent, working nonstop, eyes sharp, expression unwavering. But by evening, Ridge made the choice. We're suspending you until the investigation is complete, he announced in his office. Dylan's face didn't crumble. It didn't even flinch. Understood. She stood, gathered her planner, and paused. For the record, she added softly, whoever did this wants you looking at me. They're expecting chaos. Ridge frowned. And why is that? Because chaos hides truth, Dylan replied. And the truth is uglier than you think. Then she walked out. A breakthrough or another twist. 2 days later, Marcus burst into the conference room. We found new evidence. Everyone froze. He set down a laptop and turned the screen toward them, showing grainy footage from the hallway camera. At 10:49 p.m., someone in a dark hoodie approached the server room, their face covered, their walk slow, intentional. Hope leaned forward. Zoom in, look. That's not Dylan's height. Ridge nodded. Too tall. Steffi pointed at the hand on the doorknob. That ring, wait. I've seen it before. Marcus froze the frame. A thick silver band, engraved with a pattern. Hope gasped. That's Remy's ring. Remy, recently fired assistant designer. Bitter, angry, and last seen threatening to expose the truth. Suddenly, Miss Dylan didn't look like a suspect. She looked like a target. But the mystery deepens. Before anyone could process it, another alert chimed. Server breach attempt. Again, in broad daylight, everyone rushed toward the IT wing, only to find someone already there. Dylan, typing furiously, screens reflecting in her fierce eyes. Steffi gasped. What are you doing? Dylan didn't stop, stopping the breach. Hope scoffed, or continuing it. Dylan slammed a final command. The screens went dark, then rebooted. On the largest monitor, a message appeared. You're too late. The files are mine. See you soon. Signed only with a symbol. A snake. Dylan exhaled. They're taunting us. Steffi stepped toward her. How did you break into the system so fast? Because, Dylan replied, turning slowly, I built half this cybersecurity structure when I was hired. Ridge asked me to keep it quiet. All eyes snapped to Ridge. You what? Steffi demanded. I needed someone I trusted, Ridge muttered. Hope's voice sharpened. If you trusted her so much, Why didn't you tell us her role wasn't just a design assistant? Dylan crossed her arms. Because being underestimated is useful. Her tone held a razor edge. The final trap. That evening, Ridge, Carter, Steffi, and Hope gathered in the executive boardroom while Dylan set a digital sting operation. Remy, or whoever was behind this, would think the system vulnerable. Steffi paced nervously. What if he doesn't fall for it? He will, Dylan said confidently. His ego won't let him walk away. Seconds ticked. Minutes dragged. Then, beep. Dylan snapped upright. He's in. The screens lit with scrolling code. Someone was trying to bypass the fake security layer. Carter whispered, Can you trace him? Already am. Hope swallowed. What if he isn't alone? He's not, Dylan said quietly. Someone helped him. Steffi stiffened. Who? Dylan typed faster, eyes narrowing. A secondary access key was cloned. Ridge leaned closer. Whose? Dylan's hand paused above the keyboard. Then she said the name. A bombshell. Electra Forrester. Gasps echoed through the room. Steffi shook her head. No. Electra wouldn't. She's family. Family doesn't always mean loyalty, Dylan replied calmly. Just then, the hallway alarm beeped. Someone was approaching. The boardroom door creaked open. Electra stepped inside, breathless, eyes wide, not scared. Cornered. Turn off the trace, she demanded. But Dylan only smiled. Hello, Electra. I've been expecting you. The truth unravels. Electra looked at Ridge, Steffi, and Hope one by one. You never respected me. You treated me like decoration, not a designer. Remy believed in my talent, and together we were going to expose how this company runs on legacy, not merit. Steffi shook her head. That's not true. Electra laughed bitterly. It's exactly true. Hope whispered, stunned. So you sabotaged us? Electra scoffed. No, I corrected the imbalance.